Hello and welcome. You're watching WION World as One. Thank you so much for staying with us. My name is Him Korsaroy and here's what we've lined up for you on Speed News today. The clashes along the border between Thai and Cambodian soldiers has left at least 14 people dead, mostly civilians. Sounds of artillery firing could be heard along the Thai-Cambodian border in the wee hours today. Thailand said it evacuated more than 100,000 people along the Cambodian border as the two countries fight their bloodiest military clashes in over a decade. Images released by Thai Royal Army on 24th of July showed drone strike in Phumakwe Hill, which the Thai military says is home to Cambodian weapons depot close to the disputed Prayaviyar temple. A series of explosions killed at least 12 people, wounded more than 100 at a weapons depot in northwestern Syria on Thursday. No official statement as to what caused the blast in Idlib province. The Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights War Monitor said the explosion took place at an ammunition depot. Iranian diplomats meet counterparts from Germany, Britain and France for renewed nuclear talks. The talks will come amid warnings that three European powers could trigger snapback sanctions outlined under the 2015 deal. The meeting set to take place in Istanbul will be the first since Israel's mid-June attack on Iran, which sparked a 12-day war and targeted key nuclear and military sites. On the eve of a key meeting, Iran reaffirmed its right to enriched uranium, even as European powers threatened to reimpose nuclear sanctions. The United States joined Israel in pulling its negotiators from Gaza ceasefire talks. Special envoy Steve Witkoff blamed Hamas for failing to reach a deal and said Washington would consider alternative options. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said earlier his government will still seek a ceasefire despite recalling its negotiators from indirect talks in Qatar. Netanyahu also accused Hamas of blocking an end to nearly 2 years of fighting. Anthony Albanese made his strongest demand to Israel to date, urging the Netanyahu government to immediately stop the blockage of aid in Gaza. Prime Minister stated the situation has gone beyond the world's worst fears in what is Albanese's strongest comments to date. The Prime Minister said the conflict had stolen far too many innocent lives and Israel's actions could no longer be defended or ignored. Albanese called on Israel to comply immediately with its obligations under international law, which includes allowing the United Nations and NGOs to carry out their life-saving work safely and without interference. A top U.S. Justice Department official spent hours grilling Ghislaine Maxwell, the imprisoned accomplice of sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. This while President Trump has been struggling to tamp down furor over his handling of the case. Meeting widely anticipated after U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche announced earlier in the week that he had reached out to Maxwell's lawyers to see if she might have information about anyone who has committed crimes against the victims. Russian President Vladimir Putin inaugurated new nuclear submarine attending a ceremony in Russia's north. Kremlin says Kanyaz Pozarsky is a fourth-generation nuclear submarine equipped with modern weapons systems. China and Vietnam set to conduct their first joint army training exercise, according to the Chinese Defense Ministry. In a statement posted on its website on Sunday, the ministry announced that the joint exercise would be held this month in southern China's Guangxi Shuang Autonomous Region, which borders Vietnam. Military ties between the communist-led party-led neighbors have deepened in recent months despite territorial disputes as the close economic partners seek ways to navigate the US tariff war. The two sides have long carried out joint naval and land border patrols, but the coming exercise would be the first such exchange between their armies. China's top diplomat Wang Yi with Pakistani Chief of Army Staff Asim Munir in Beijing on Thursday. During the meeting, China reiterates its firm support for Pakistan's efforts to combat all forms of terrorism. Beijing also expressed hope that the Pakistani military would continue to ensure the security of Chinese personnel, projects and institutions within the country. One of France's longest-held inmates, the pro-Palestine Lebanese militant Georges Ibrahim Abdallah, has been released after more than 40 years behind bars for the killing of two diplomats. Abdallah was detained in 1984 and sentenced to life in prison in 1987 for his involvement in the murders of U.S. military attaché Charles Robert Ray and Israeli diplomat Yaakov Barismantov in Paris. The Paris Court of Appeal had ordered his release effective July 25th on condition that he leave the French territory and never return. Incarcerated PTI founder and ex-Prime Minister Imran Khan has decried the lack of any meaningful momentum for his party's planned August 5th protest. In his latest message from Adiala jail, Imran Khan urged members to immediately shun internal divisions and to focus on the party. Deputy Information Secretary confirmed the nationwide protest would proceed under the banner of the opposition alliance, Tehreek Tahaffuz-Ain-e-Pakistan. Indian Ministry of External Affairs said India's actions against Pakistan during Operation Sindoor were focused, measured and non-escalatory. The statement came as Minister of State for External Affairs Kirti Vardhan Singh submitted a written response to a query in the Rajya Sabha on Operation Sindoor. Responding to questions by Shiv Sena UBT Leader of Parliament Sanjay Rath's questions, the External Affairs Ministry said India has consistently flagged issues to the US to safeguard regional stability. The government confirmed that it has raised concerns with the US over military aid to Pakistan and growing China-Pakistan military cooperation in the POK. It reiterated that Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh are integral and inalienable parts of India. The Indian government informed the Lok Sabha that 112 Air India pilots reported sick, comprising 51 commanders and 61 first officers, P2, in the aftermath of the Ahmedabad plane crash. Minister of State for Civil Aviation Muralidhar Mohal said there has been a minor increase in sick leaves reported by pilots, and as many as 51 commanders reported sick on the 16th of June. The statement was in response to Lok Sabha members' query on whether Air India has been experiencing mass sick reporting by flight crew members following the crash. President's rule in Manipur has been extended for a period of 6 months, effective from the 13th of August 2025. The centre had imposed the President's rule in Manipur on the 13th of February, 3 days after Chief Minister N. Biren Singh resigned. The State Assembly, which has a tenure till 2027, will remain under suspended animation. Manipur has been witnessing ethnic conflict between communities since May 2023. In the state of Rajasthan, at least 2 students died after roof collapsed at a government school in Jhalawar. A large-scale rescue operation was swiftly launched with police, locals and officials working together to pull trapped children from the debris. Torrential rains continue to wreak havoc in southwest China. At least 6 people have lost their lives and forced more than 80,000 to flee as extreme weather hits. Visuals that surface shows locals fleeing and authorities rushing in for rescue operations in Yunnan province. Heavy rainfall on Thursday prompted flash flooding in the mountain village of Ruidoso, forcing the closure of roads and the rescue of at least 5 people who were trapped in the water. The flooding caused road closures and residents shared videos of muddy flood water inundating roads and ripping apart riverside mobile homes. The area near Ruidoso remains under flood advisory from the National Weather Service. Flooding along the river earlier this month killed 3 people, damaged at least 35 homes. A tropical storm blowing across the Philippines' mountainous north Friday has caused at least 25 deaths and prompted evacuations in villages affected by flooding and landslides. Typhoon Kome made landfall Thursday night in the town of Agnoit. Maximum sustained winds of 120 kilometers per hour. It is now weakening as it advances northeastward, with sustained winds of 100 kilometers per hour in the wee hours today. Disaster response officials have received reports of at least 25 deaths since last weekend, mostly due to flash floods, toppled trees, landslides and electrocution. Asian stocks eased as investors booked profits after Japan's Topix hit a record high earlier this week. The index dipped 0.7%, while the Nikkei slipped 0.5%, dragged by political uncertainty surrounding Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba. Other regional markets, including Hong Kong, China and Australia, saw mild losses. Meanwhile, US futures held steady, boosted by strong earnings from Alphabet. Investors are now bracing for a packed week ahead. Trump's tariff deadline, Fed's policy meeting, key US jobs data and earnings from tech giants like Apple and Meta. The dollar gained against the yen while treasury yields softened slightly. Gold held steady, oil prices inched up on the back of cautious optimism.
990 at $1,500,000.
Intel undergoing a dramatic transformation under new CEO Lip Bhutan, who has vowed to end years of overspending and strategic missteps. The company will slash its workforce by over 22% this year, while eliminating half of its management layers. Tan declared no more blank checks, stressing Intel will only invest where there's demand. Factory expansion plans in Ohio, Poland, Germany being scaled back or halted. The once ambitious 18-chip manufacturing plan will now focus on internal use, and Tan may exit external contracts altogether. Company shares were down 4.5% at the close.
Just like this.
The Bank of Japan may be edging closer to another rate hike this year, buoyed by reduced trade uncertainty following a deal between Japan and the US. Sources say the central bank could signal a shift in tone at its July end meeting by offering a less pessimistic economic outlook. Deputy Governor has already hinted at stronger prospects for hitting the BOJ's 2% inflation target. However, any rate hike will now hinge on how the economy withers lingering risks from US tariffs and weak consumption. Two-year bond yields have hit a 4-month high, reflecting market expectations. But with Japan's economy still fragile and no consensus within the BOJ board, the upcoming economic indicators will be key in shaping future policy moves. Oil prices climbed for a second straight day on optimism over US trade negotiations and a tightening diesel market. India's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal expressed confidence in striking a US trade deal by August 1st as Brazil and Mexico also move to expand trade ties. Diesel prices have surged, driving demand for crude grades that yield higher diesel output. EU curbs on Russian energy are adding to supply tightness. Still, crude remains down for the year amid rising OPEC output and looming oversupply concerns. Analysts warn that as summer demand fades, global inventories may swell, pushing Brent back towards $60 in the coming months. Rishabh Pant's courageous return from injury captured hearts as his gritty half-century helped anchor India's first innings total of 358. Ben Stokes led the bowling effort with his first 5-wicket haul in Test in 8 years. In reply, England's top order seized control, powered by a commanding 166-run opening stand between Zach Crawley and Ben Duckett. The hosts closed day 2 on 225 for 2, trailing by just 133 runs at stumps. One of the world's most iconic professional wrestlers, Hulk Hogan, has passed away at the age of 71. Hogan reportedly suffered a cardiac arrest on Thursday morning in his home in Clearwater, Florida. He was declared dead after being taken into a hospital. One of the most iconic professional wrestlers of all time, he is best remembered for his stint with WWE. Also recently gained recognition for being a vocal supporter of Trump during 2024 presidential election. Jazz world mourning today following the announcement of the passing of two-time Grammy Award-winning musician Chuck Mangione, best known for his iconic 1977 hit Feel So Good, died peacefully in his sleep at his home in New York. On July 22nd, at the age of 84, his family released a statement on the 24th of July expressing their deep sadness. Mangione's attorney confirmed the news, noting that the beloved fluon player and composer had been retired from music since 2015.
So much music I want to play for so many people.
For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.